Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day I bid to Dr. Nora. My name is Nuri Shifa Hassan and today my groupmates and I will be talking about one of the chapters in the Routledge Handbook of Critical Discourse Studies. So before we start, let's have a look at this Volvo advertisement from 2016 for their XC90 model. So at a first glance, when we look at this advertisement with its green chalkboard background and also the A+, the red color A+ sign at the top right, so we can assume that this advertisement is targeting people from the education sector. And then when we look at the wording in the advertisement with the all-new XC90, you will teach everyone on the road what it means to be modern and sleek. So the phrase you will teach here implies that this advertisement might specifically target teachers. So this is what we will be looking at today, the analysis of discourse that not only involve language but also includes other moods such as imagery, typography, colors, etc., which is also known as multimodal critical discourse analysis, or MCDA for short. So let's start with a bit of an introduction to MCDA. What is multimodal critical discourse analysis, MCDA? MCDA is an approach that examines how meaning is created not only through language but also through other semiotic modes like images, layout, and typography. MCDA expands the scope of traditional critical discourse analysis, CDA, which primarily focuses on language. So as we have learned previously, CDA looks at the interconnectedness of discourse, power, and ideology, where it looks at language as an overall system of choices. So expanding from Halliday's systemic functional linguistic theory, MCDA is highly interdisciplinary by including semiotics and visual psychology in the analysis. Let's look at an example of a simple linguistic text and a multimodal text. So let's say if a shop is doing a clearance sale, for example, and they use this plain text by 331 black and white banner as part of their promotional campaign. So do you think it will be able to attract customers' attention as compared to another shop that use this banner where there are elements of brand colors, product images, and the free one phrase was emphasized? This shows that multimodal texts convey richer meaning than just words. So why is multimodal analysis important? So modern communication relies on multiple modes such as text, visuals, and also sound. Many ideological and power-related messages are embedded in those non-linguistic features. So by understanding multimodality, it helps uncover hidden meanings and power structures in media, advertising, and other texts. For example, this political ad for Donald Trump's recent presidential campaign, which includes the slogan, "Make America Great Again," which is parallel to the imagery of himself looking very determined in front of the American flag. Plus, he is also wearing a white shirt, red necktie, and blue-black blazer to match with the national flag colors, which invokes a sense of patriotism. This shows how the current media relies heavily on visuals to convey ideological and power-related messages. Another example of how recent modern communication is inherently multimodal is the social media post by an influencer for a German accessory brand, Paul Hewitt. So as the model has a darker skin tone, it contrasts well with the lighter tone of the watch, face, and bracelet. The overall filter of the photo also uses neutral tone, making the accessories more emphasized in the photo. So accompanying the photo is the caption with hashtags and emojis. So Paul Hewitt regularly uses branded hashtags, Paul Hewitt, and hashtag Get and Caught in their fashion influencer marketing campaigns to amplify their brand's presence. There are three key focus areas of MCDA, which are the semiotic resources, power and ideology, as well as context. So firstly, we will look into the semiotic resources such as visuals, colors, typography, layout, and spatial design. Next, we will focus on how design choices encode societal norms, values, and power relations. Lastly, we have to understand that the meaning of multimodal elements depends on cultural and situational context. For example, this Share Air campaign for anti-smoking and smoke-free environments. The primary object of the advertisement is a burger constructed out of cigarettes as the bun and matches as the filling on a bright red background. The text at the bottom reads, "Your food stinks." There is also subtext that explains the purpose, which says, "Secondhand smoke is ruining the experience for some of your guests." So the burger here is not an actual food item, but a metaphor. So cigarettes as the bun symbolize smoke infiltrating the dining environment, and the matches as filling suggest the risk of fire or toxicity. The red background reinforces urgency and danger since red is often associated with warnings. The text, "Your food," speaks directly to the viewer in a confrontational tone, ensuring emotional engagement. So the visual mood, which is the cigarette burger, conveys a metaphorical message, and the textual mood reinforces the metaphor with a provocative slogan and explanatory subtext. So together, these moods construct an ideology that smoking not only harms health, but also disrupts communal experience such as dining. Next, we move on to understanding semiotics in MCDA. So, what are semiotic resources? So, semiotic resources are tools or elements used to communicate meaning, which includes visuals such as photos, illustrations, and symbols, typography such as fonts, size, and styles, as well as layout, which means arrangement of elements. So, each of these resources carries denotations, which is the literal meaning, and also connotations, which is the culturally or ideologically loaded meaning. So denotation refers to the most direct, explicit, and objective elements visible in the discourse. For example, in the Miss Dior Sherry advertisement, so there is a young woman standing barefoot on a green lawn, so holding a pair of high heel shoes in one hand. So she is wearing a pastel pink flowy dress. There is a grand mansion visible in the background, and a perfume bottle labeled Miss Dior Sherry is placed prominently in the foreground. So lastly, there is also a tagline that says "the luxury of freedom." So literally, we can interpret this image showing a woman outside being relaxed and carefree, enjoying the outdoors without her shoes. So the perfume bottle represents the advertised product. Connotation refers to the symbolic, emotional, and cultural meanings that are associated with the visual and textual elements. For example, the model represents youth and femininity. The act of holding her shoes and barefoot pose suggests a carefree and liberated spirit, reinforcing the tagline. The choice of pink dress also reinforces the traditional ideas of femininity because pink color is culturally associated with softness, love, and also romance. The grand mansion in the background acts as a symbol of luxury, social status, and exclusivity, which suggests that the perfume is tied to an affluent lifestyle. Next, we look at the foreground placement of the perfume, which suggests that the perfume is the key to accessing the luxury and freedom depicted in the scene. Lastly, the line, "the luxury of freedom," suggests that buying the perfume allows the consumer to experience a luxurious, carefree, and liberated lifestyle. Other examples of denotation and connotation meanings in semiotic resources can be seen in political campaign posters. For example, in Malaysian political scene, there are reasons why the political parties always choose blue, red and white colors for their logos, and it is because those are the colors of our national flag. So similarly, Indian political parties use deep saffron, white and dark green elements in their campaign poster. So this shows how these semiotic resources like typography, color and visuals convey meaning and evoke emotions. To explain more on MCDA, there are a few analytical concepts that should be taken into consideration while doing MCDA. For example, denotation and connotation. So denotation is literal meaning. For example, a dove is literally means a type of bird. And connotation is the symbolic meaning. For example, a dove again is also a symbol of peace. And next we have salience. Salience means that what stands out most and why. For example, size, color and also positioning. Lastly, we have framing. Framing is how elements are positioned to guide interpretation. For example, using close-ups versus wide shots in images. A simple example would be this movie poster for Spider-Man 3. So the denotation meaning, what we can literally see in this movie poster, is Spider-Man himself in his iconic red and blue costume. However, a part of his costume is overrun by a black, web-like substance of a symbiotic organism. So he is in a crouched pose, gazing off-screen with a city skyline in the background. There is also the tagline at the top saying the greatest battle lies within. So lastly, the movie title Spider-Man 3 displayed at the bottom along with the release date May 4. So that is the denotation description of this movie poster. Moving on to the connotation meaning. So symbolically, the black web consuming Spider-Man suit symbolizes inner conflict, duality and the struggle between good and evil. So it suggests a psychological and moral battle where Spider-Man must confront his darker impulses. So this connotation meaning ties to the tagline, the greatest battle lies within, which emphasizes an internal and emotional journey rather than external physical battles. So the crouching pose is both dynamic and predatory. So it adds suspense by making the viewers curious about what action is about to take place. Next, the city skyline background symbolizes Spider-Man's role as a protector of the city, but also serves as a reminder of what is at stake should his internal conflict spiral out of control. Next, salience. It refers to the elements in the composition that draw the viewer's attention first. So in this poster, the half red, half black costume is the most salient feature, which immediately communicates the central theme of inner conflict. So the tagline is also clear and concise, and its placement at the top provides a verbal summary of the visual narrative. The large and bold Spider-Man 3 at the bottom ensures viewers leave with the movie's name imprinted in their memory. And lastly, framing, which refers to the arrangements of elements to create meaning, direct attention and organize the narrative. So Spider-Man here, he is centered in the poster, making him the focal point. So this reinforces his importance as the protagonist while highlighting his inner conflict. The slightly upward angle of Spider-Man's body gives him a larger-than-life appearance, enhancing his iconic and heroic presence. However, his introspective gaze and crouched position suggest vulnerability and internal struggle, balancing his portrayal. More examples of MCDA in action can be seen in the comparison between two of Time magazine covers featuring Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So the cover on the left was taken in 2018 during their wedding. So Prince Harry here was in his military uniform and Meghan Markle was in her wedding dress. Meanwhile, the cover on the left was taken in 2021 where both were dressed in casual attires. So in terms of salience, what grabs attention first? So in the left image, Harry's military uniform with its bold red and gold accents immediately draws the eye. And Meghan's white dress contrasts with Harry's uniform, but not as visually dominant. So it looks like it is complementing Harry rather than overshadowing him. However, in the right image, Meghan's white blouse, central placement and confident posture make her the clear focus. So here, Harry blends more into the background due to his darker outfit and slightly recessed position. His placement behind Meghan reinforces her as the dominant figure in the composition. Next, we look at the framing of Harry and Meghan in both covers. So in the left image, Harry is slightly ahead of Meghan, symbolizing traditional genders and institutional hierarchies. So this framing also reinforces Harry's role as the royal figure leading the partnership. The couple is framed close together to symbolize unity, but with a formal distance consistent with their royal roles. In the right image, however, Meghan is centrally framed with Harry positioned slightly behind her. This visual hierarchy shifts the focus to Meghan as the leader or focal point of the partnership. The close proximity and Harry's hand on Meghan's shoulder create a sense of intimacy and connection, contrasting with the formality of the left image. Lastly, in terms of typography and color, how do they convey mood and meaning? The headline, The Modern Royals, in the left image uses bold, capitalized sans serif font, emphasizing the theme of continuity and modernity within the royal institution. So the supporting text, Meghan and the monarchy, reinforces her integration into royal tradition. For colors, the soft lighting and neutral tones of white, gold and navy evoke a sense of formality and timelessness. In the right image, the headline, The World's Most Influential People, is bold and capitalized, framing Harry and Meghan as global influences beyond the confines of royalty. So their names, Prince Harry and Meghan, are prominently placed, but the absence of royal title shifts the narrative towards individuality and modernity. In terms of color palette, Meghan's white outfit is bright and symbolic of modernity, purity and leadership, while Harry's darker tones make him visually recede. So how does MCDA relevance to CDA? So like CDA, MCDA aims to reveal power dynamics and ideologies. MCDA expands CDA by incorporating multimodal elements into analysis, and it is especially relevant in today's image-driven media landscape. So now that we have introduced MCDA and its key concepts, the next part will focus on analytical frameworks and how we apply MCDA to real-world examples.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I will present regarding analytical frameworks in MCDA. So this one I will discuss the tools and methods that used in MCDA, which there is visual grammar and also discursive structures in multimodal text. So in visual grammar, I will talk about based on Kress and Van Leeuwen's work, which is highlighting representational, interactive, and compositional meanings. So first, we will discuss about visual grammar. Visual grammar, okay. So how the social semiotic theory of representation lays a solid theoretical framework for their work on visual representation. So the study of how image and their design communicate messages examines elements like colors, shapes, composition, and perspective to understand the meaning behind visuals. Kress and Van Leeuwen developed this framework to analyze visuals in a systematic way, similar to how we analyze language grammar. So meaning that visual grammar to analyze how visual elements communicate meaning. So visual grammar is the study of how image communicate through their design. like layouts, such as layouts, image, and diagram. It was created by Chris and Van Leeuwenhoek to help us understand the hidden message in pictures. So as we can see from the picture here, there is two books. The left one is first words, the right one is colors. So these two books, from the picture, there is the design show, there is a animal cartoon, and also like teddy bear, ball, and car. It show that this in terms of toys. So it's refer that this book to children is for children, and the fonts they use, and that one the colorful of the words there, so it shows for children. So I go to next. Representational. So in representational, there is two that we want to talk about, which is narrative representation and also conceptual representation. So before that, we go to narrative first. So narrative is messages exchanged as represented participants, which is what or who are individuals, which is interactive participants who participate in the act of communication. Examples for analysis in this chapter are taken mostly from newspapers and photographs. The authors finish the chapter with a table giving the correspondence between linguistic and visual narrative processes. So meaning that in narrative, it shows actions or events, because representational, the meaning of the representational is what is happening in the image. Okay, so this one, a picture from the newspaper. So the left one, it shows the topic show that Trump shot at rally. So from the picture, it shows that Trump raises his hands with his palm closed, and there is a bodyguard, I think, because like there is 2, 3, or 4 people are protect him. So that means his bodyguard. So meaning that the topic is related to the picture, because the picture they don't show how he got shot, but maybe got story behind of it. So they just show the picture and also the title there. Okay, and the right one is we can see from the big topic, big title is Save Our Bacon, and there is a maid holding something like wrapping, I mean like the bread wrap or sandwich or burger, hamburger, or yeah, maybe they said bacon. Something like this man is ate that bacon. So it means that the text there is related to the picture. So it shows that there is actions there. Maybe, yeah, we know that the picture not moving, but it shows that there is an action show. I go to the next slide. What's happening? Okay. Okay, this one conceptual. Conceptual is divides processes into categories, classification, which is classificational, analytical, symbolic, and embedding. So the authors finish by explaining how ideas are shown in both language and image. For example, like visual classificational structures are like sentence showing categories, and analytical structures are like sentence showing ownership or parts of something. So this is an example of visual classificational and analytical structures. So visual, we can see that there is a lot of types of fruit there, which we have pineapple, orange, apples, pear, kiwis, and so on. So just now it mentions that visual classificational is categories. So that means the picture is categories of fruit. Uh they're not uh they not mention categories of fruit, but it shows from the picture there. And the other one is analytical structure, is part of the things of the Okay, is part of the car. We can know this picture a car inside of car, right? So analytical, it shows that we, even though only part of the items, or maybe um the things, so we know that this is what. So I mean, like, maybe a cat, it's only a picture of his leg, something like that. So we know that, oh, this is a cat, or maybe this is a cat, something like that, a part of the picture. So there is a behind of it, the meaning behind of it. I move to interactive. So we just finished representation meaning. So now we move to interactive. So what is interactive? Okay, interactive is designing the position of the viewer, which is deciding how the audience feels or sees something in an image. Okay, so the people who create the image or message, which is producers, are not there when someone looks at it. Instead of talking directly to the viewer, they use the image to show a relationship or feeling. So, for example, a friendly smile in ad represents friendliness, but it's not real interaction. Okay, so from the picture that we don't know who is this woman. So from the picture, we know that she show her friendliness. She show that maybe a happiest thing about her. So just know from the picture, we don't know the woman. And from the connection is shown through the image, not through real face-to-face communication. So we know the friendliness. If that picture shows sad face, so we know maybe because of the sad stuff. Okay, the direction of the look, the gaze of represented participant, the size of frame, and the viewing angle all play important roles in identifying the relation between the represented participants and the interactive participant. So that means that how the image connects with the viewer. So like the direct eye contact, personal and engaging, and no eye contact, neutral or informative. Okay, I move to next. Okay, this is a compositional. What is compositional? Compositional works with the textual function, the way in which representations and communicative acts cohere into meaningful whole. How image and message are put together to make sense as one clear, complete idea. It's about making sure the parts work together to create meaning. For example, a poster for a charity. So we can see from the picture there, a poster of charity, a sad child holding an empty ball. The image and text combine to create a meaningful message about helping children through donations. So the audience will see from the poster there that maybe the poster want the audience to aware that there is a children outside um, that need our help. So they put the poster there and use the set chart face and also the text. So it's combined together with the meaning. So usually a poster, they won't put a long text. So just like a title there and the picture, so it show meaningful to that. So everyone will know behind of this poster. Okay, I move to the next. Okay, now it's about discursive structures in multimodal text. So multimodality is a key idea in how we communicate using different methods like words, image, sounds, and more. Multimodal text refers to a combination to different modes, which is ways of communication used in a single piece of text to create meaning. The elements that include four categories, which is visual elements, images and graphics, language and typography, color and composition, cultural symbols, and context. Visual elements, image and graphic. Visuals can subtly influence how we see a topic by emphasizing certain aspects while hiding others. Example, an ad showing a happy family using a specific product reinforce the idea that the product is essential for happiness. Language and typography. The choice of words, font size, and style affects how the message is interpreted. Example, bold, capitalized fonts in headlines create urgency. Example, act now. So, you, act now. Okay lah, cukup lah. Color and composition. Colors evoke emotions and direct attention, while composition organize elements to create meaning. Example, red for danger or passion. Example, stop signs of Valentine ads. Okay, what I know regarding color, actually there is a meaning behind of it. Like, for example, in medical terms, in hospital, there's a three zone. Red zone, three zone color, red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. So red zone is referred to someone critical. It's near to danger. I mean like near to death, maybe near to really danger. Red is a red zone. A red zone meaning that red zone meaning that patient really in danger, really critical. Second, yellow zone. Yellow zone meaning that the patient it's near to the critical. And green zone, the last one, green zone is that patient can be safe. So these three different color of zone. So every color there is a meaning behind it. So everyone know this color is behind it. So it's okay, lastly, I will talk about cultural symbols and context. So these symbols and cultural reference resonate with specific audience and reinforce shared belief. Example, religious symbols in charity campaigns appeal to faith-based communities. So from this one, this is a poster, Gaza under attack, we stand with Palestine. And there is a flag of Palestine, free Gaza. Okay, Gaza is Gaza is a city of Palestine. So it mentioned that someone who used this poster maybe want to tell the audience that Palestine is under attack and need awareness from the audience, have some humanity and have attention what happened in Palestine. So this poster also to support Palestine. So it shows there is a bomb fist, and there is a open palms hand, and there is a V sign. So V sign, people common will know V sign is for peace. So it means that peace for Gaza or Palestine. So that's it. Thank you from me, and so we'll proceed to Ashraf. Thank you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Alright, now that we have learned about some introduction on multimodal critical discourse analysis, as well as the core content, by understanding semiotics in MCDA and analytical frameworks in MCDA, we're gonna go forward with applications and implications of the multimodal critical discourse analysis, the application and implication per se. Right, next. So some case studies and examples that you can have a look at. First, we can look at the corporate branding and its ideological effects. Okay, so the point that I have made in this particular section is in the realm of corporate branding, MCDA can be used to uncover the ideological effects embedded in visual and textual elements. For instance, a company logo, color scheme, and advertising imagery are not just aesthetic choices but carry significant ideological messages. A case study might analyze how a global corporation like Apple used sleek minimalist design and aspirational imagery to convey messages of innovation, exclusivity, and modernity. So, yeah, so these elements work together to create a brand identity that influences consumer perception and behaviors, promoting a specific lifestyle and a set of values. Let's say going back to Apple, we all know that they will be launching new sets of iPhone or iPad or even smartwatch, especially during the month of, if I'm not mistaken, like November. So people are looking forward to it. So it create with it a sense of exclusivity, and it create with it a sense of like a niche target market to it. So this is how Apple position itself as a corporate branding with its ideological effects as well. And then to relate all to this, by applying MCDA, researchers can deconstruct these visual and textual elements to reveal underlying ideologies related to consumerism, technology, and social status as well. So real life example that I can provide here is the Nike's Just Do It campaign. It is a prime example of corporate branding that carries significant ideological effects. So a bit of background about this campaign. It was launched in 1988. The campaign has evolved to encompass themes of empowerment and resilient and social justice. Nike often features athletes who have overcome significant challenges, thereby promoting an ideology of perseverance and determination as well. Um, in the recent years, Nike has taken bold stances on social issues such as racial equality, and gender inclusivity. For instance, their ad featuring Colin Kaepernick, as you can see from the photos there, he protested against the racial injustice, not only reinforced Nike's brand identity, but also sparked widespread debate and positioned the company as a supporter of social activism. So this strategic branding aligned Nike with progressive values, appealing to a socially conscious consumer base. So which is now, I think, something that they are looking forward to, because now, I mean, as we progresses with the years, as we progress with the years, we are now promoting more inclusivity, diversity, and all that. Next, another examples that you can see here is Dove, the Real Beauty campaign. It was launched in 2004. It challenges traditional beauty standards. So, like previously, I think we have discussed it in the previous class as well, where beauty standards must have like, some, you have to have certain body features and everything by a female, but now they are challenging it. So it started way back in 2004, even before that, but Dove like revolutionized it. To the campaign, a bit of background there. The campaign promotes this ideology of body positivity and self-acceptance, countering the often narrow and unrealistic portrayals of beauty in the media. So by doing so, Dove not only differentiate itself from competitors, but also align brand with values of inclusivity and authenticity. If you can see from the photo itself, you can see people from different skin color, and then like they have like this young and old, and then some curvy as well, which is, I think, it promotes like inclusivity in the sense. It has resonated well with many consumers, fostering brand loyalty and enhancing Dove's reputation as a socially responsible company, like the previous Nike Just Do It as well. That's a real life example that I can give related to MCDA. And then next is the second part, which is the media reporting and visual framing. So media reporting frequently uses visual elements to frame social actors in specific ways. For example, like a study on the Telegraph online media platform examine how as images of alleged perpetrators are personalized to convey danger and legitimize law enforcement actions. So this framing can be achieved through camera angles, shot distances, and gaze direction, which together influence the viewer's perception of social actors. So I think I believe that we have learned this before in terms of like shots, what kind of shots that we have learned in film, in advertising, in advertisement. So that's really how media is being portrayed on. So and how the visual framing of the advertisement or television, TV shows, or even commercials. So we are going to go into another examples. So a notable real life example, I believe that we all have all seen this before. It is the coverage of the 2015 European migrant crisis. So during this period, a bit of background there, various media outlets use different visual framing techniques to enhance public perception of the migrants. So real life example one that I can give is the photograph of Alan Kurdi. So one of the most impactful images was the photograph of Alan Kurdi, a 3-year-old Syrian boy who whose body was found on a Turkish beach after a failed attempt to reach Greece. So this image was widely spread and it was being widely shared as well and framed the migrant crisis in deeply human and emotional context. So it sort of like sparked human interest and humanity in people, especially with the by that time Google has already been there, and then we have already have Facebook and social media is already like climbing the chart back then, so it's easy for it to be circulated upon. And then the photograph evoked global empathy and outrage, significantly influencing public opinion and policy discussion about the crisis. So this is more like a how the framing of the boy, how the boy basically passed away. And then the framing technique used is close-up shots, emotional appeal, and contrast with other images. The close-up shot emphasize the personal tragedy and human cost of the crisis. Emotional appeal accompanied by the image often accompanied by headline and stories that highlighted the plight of refugees, and then contrast with other images. Some media outlets use images of large group of migrants at borders or in camp, framing the situation as a logistical or security challenge rather than a humanitarian one. So this framing in overall, it demonstrates how visual elements in media reporting can shape perception and discourse around significant social issues. I think we can also relate that to the current one, which is the Gaza Palestinian issues nowadays, the conflict, not just in Gaza but also in other people as well. And we can see now in our social media, even that I have seen this morning, about 40,000, even more than 40,500 people were killed, regardless whether it's like from the 14 months that it has been going on since October, and even dating back to all the way from 1930s, was it? So when the first thing come on, but it was especially being emphasized during this period because of all of the social media that we have. So I think it relate closely to our current situation nowadays. So And then the framing technique used, it's also, I think it's the same technique they are using, appealing to people emotion, saying that, hey, this war need to be stopped. So like the recent photo shared was by the father, where he was always helpful one. I'm not sure about the name, but there are some, how the father has always been helping the refugee in the refugee camp, but eventually he got shot. He got bombed as well. So um, this is like the thing that people are looking for at now, emotional appeal. And then the close-up shots as well as contrast with other images as well. So next would be the real life example coverage of GE14, General Election 14. This is the an example that I can give the which relate closer to our our situation here in Malaysia. So a relevant example of media reporting and visual framing in Malaysia is the coverage of the 2018 general election. So if you can see, it's like it was being taken by landslide. So even like the coalition, like the Barisan Nasional has been ruling the country for 6 years, and then they are being undertaken significantly, by the opposition party. So it was and especially, and then they were being defeated after over 60 years in power. So that was I was saying just now. So different media outlets and use the various framing technique to shape public perception of the political parties and candidates. So yeah, you can see that. And then there are a lot of like how they are being portrayed, and then from there, then people can see like, okay, what went wrong, and there are some several studies has been made for this coverage of general election 14. So that's a good example that I can think of. Next is okay, so basically in this general election 14, the framing techniques used is conflict versus responsibility frame. So mainstream media such as Usam Malaysia often use the conflict frame to highlight disputes and tension within the opposition parties. The framing aim to portray the opposition as disorganized and incapable of governing. In contrast, independent media outlets like we have FMT, and then we have other like other news resources like Malaysia Kini. They use the responsibility frame to emphasize the accountability and transparency issues within the ruling coalition, focusing on corruption scandals and governance failures. So you can see like a lot of different style of reporting, and then information being conveyed by the media, which I think it helps because people are now shifting from the mainstream media to a news outlet like a something that they can look at. So previously we only look at like one or two or three, even like the mainstream media like Berita Harian, the printed media Utusan Malaysia. But now even then during the GE14 2018, people are being more aware that they have um, choices to look at um, other news outlets, so for them to like um, see and then read more and then make a judgment of it. And visual framing, visual elements played a crucial role in shaping public perception. For instance, images of large crowds at opposition rallies were used to convey a sense of momentum and popular support for change. Conversely, images of BN leaders were often framed in formal setting, emphasizing their appearance, their experience and stability. So human interest frame as well. That's also like part of the framing techniques that it was being used. Um, and then some media outlets, they use human interest frame to tell personal stories of voters and candidates, highlighting their struggles and aspirations. This approach aims to humanize and the political process and connect with readers on an emotional level. So this is how the framing technique was being used during the GE14 report kind of era. And then moving on, we have the challenges of MCDA. Some challenges of MCDA is subjectivity in interpreting visuals. One of the primary challenges from the book and then from the one that I have read, in the involving in interpreting visual elements. So different analysts and may derive a varying meaning from the same visual data influenced by their own cultural and personal biases. So not necessarily what you and I read is the same as as what is being given by the media outlet. So it is subjective, by how media shape perception of people. It is subjective how we want to interpret that. So this subjectivity can complicate the consistency and reliability of MCDA finding. And then another challenges is the need for cross-disciplinary expertise, such as linguistic, design, sociology, and more. So this interdisciplinary approach is necessary to fully understand the complex interplay of different modes of communication. Um, it poses a challenge in terms of breadth of knowledge and the skill required for comprehensiveness. And then implication for critical discourse studies and practical applications. So as some applications, you can see that from media like literacy, it enhanced critical thinking skills where those who are more aware and then more aware about the media literacy, they can critically analyze media content by examining how different modes like text, images, sound work together to convey messages. This skill is crucial for the identifying biases, stereotypes, and underlying ideologies in media. So, for instance, media literacy program can use MCDA to teach students how to deconstruct advertisement, news report, and social media posts, kind of like what we are doing at the moment. And then developing media production skills. So, by having the media literacy, individuals can create their own media content that is more effective and ethically sound, using visual and textual element to communicate messages clearly and persuasively, and education as well. So integrating MCDA into curriculum, so educators can incorporate MCDA into various subjects to help students analyze and understand complex text and media. For example, in history class, students can use MCDA to analyze historical documentaries. Another part of education is by promoting multimodal literacy, where MCDA can actually encourage students to become more proficient in interpreting and creating multimodal text, which is important in a digital age where communication often involve a combination of text, images, and sound. So activities such as analyzing political speeches, advertisement, or social media posts, campaigns help students to develop these skills. Instead of like relying only one way, then now you are getting more things across. So you can look at how people talk, you can look at how people dress up, you can look at how they use the facial expression, they can use at how the body gestures, the words that they are using, the choice of words, so the pause, the one that we have learned before. So that is important. And then another implication is activism. First, in line of activism, you can deconstruct media representation by identifying and challenging negative stereotypes and biased portrayals. Activists can advocate for more accurate and respectful representation, and then creating effective campaigns. We have learned this before. Where some campaign may not portray truly of what they are conveying or selling, for instance. So by having this MCDA, the activists can design more impactful campaign by understanding how to use different mode of communication effectively. For example, a campaign for environmental awareness might use a combination of compelling visuals, persuasive text and emotive soundtrack to engage and motivate the audience. Let's say like you are preaching to the choir, preaching to the people to save the environment, and then instead of like just using like normal poster, now you can have like uh, what if like wording such as like what if 10,000 or maybe 10 years or 15 years or 50 years or 100 years from now, what if your granddaughters or your grandkids cannot live in this safe environment anymore? So that's helpful to have this MCDA, and then you put that some like videos, some audios as well, which to create more impactful in a way, more impactful advertisement, more impactful way of portraying it, so it will be good to have that MCDA. And then practical application, of course, I've said it before, critical discourse studies, where you are not just using like one method, one mode, but you are using multiple modes, not just text. So this broader perspective help uncover deeper layers of meaning and influence in discourse, making it a powerful tool for examining social inequalities and all power dynamics. And then media literacy, education, and activism. Um, Educators can empower them to recognize and challenge ideological messages for these students. Activists can deconstruct and counteract harmful representation, promoting more inclusive narrative. And then some conclusion to it. So having like learned all of the part of MCDA introduction, understanding semiotics, analytical frameworks, and then the part that I have presented, application, some key takeaways that I can think of is MCDA often reveals power and ideology. There are certain things as like pens are mightier than the swords. So in this case, MCDA are like that pen. It is a powerful tool for uncovering how power and ideology are embedded in visual and multimodal text. So by analyzing the interplay of different modes, such as images, text, and sound, MCDA helps to reveal the subtle ways in which media can influence and shape public perception and social norms. Some also another takeaway is interdisciplinary nature. So MCDA, the strength lies in its interdisciplinary approach, drawing on fields such as linguistics, design, sociology, and more, making it highly adaptable to various contexts and types of media. But people have to I believe that people have to like because it also bring with it complexity requiring analysts to have a broad range of knowledge and skill to effectively interpret and integrate different modes of communication. Hence, we need to have MCDA studied and used properly in a sense. So I will leave this presentation with some quotation and questions and discussion. So how can MDCA be applied in analyzing digital media? Because at the current digital age, modern age, so digital media have with it, rich combination of text, images, video, and interactive elements. How can we actually use MCDA to better understand the ways in which digital platforms shape user engagement and influence public opinion? And then what are the challenges of integrating visual and textual analysis? So what are some strategies for effectively integrating this analysis to provide a comprehensive understanding of multimodal text? So this is something that I think we can have we can ponder through, because regardless of how important MCDA is, which is very important, this is the question that we can like ask ourselves as the linguistic person. How can we actually use this to answer the question, and how we can actually use that to actually apply it in our daily life, and how we interpret things way better. So with that, I end the presentation, and thank you for listening.